Welcome to another episode of The Jasmine Tea, where we bring you piping hot commentary on your favorite blackity black shows. I'm your host, Jasmine, and today my co-host is Miss Mary Livingston, president and founder of Abeona Wealth, where she provides empowering and approachable financial advice to single women and young professionals. Mary, tell the people hello. How you doing?
Hey, I'm so glad to be here. Doing great.
We are
Kicking off this Monday.
super excited to have you. So Mary and I will be recapping Insecure season 5, episode 4. So we're just gonna jump straight into our what's been brewing moments, which is basically what Black Twitter has been saying about the show and specifically this episode. And we're gonna kick it off with these fabulous wardrobes, fabulous hairstyles. The opening scene is the beach day, and we see Molly and Kelly and Issa on the beach looking fabulous. Have you had a chance to hit up the beach this year, Mary?
I have not. We went for spring break last year for a few days. It was really cold, but as you can tell from my pale skin, I'm not really made for the beach. I laughed a lot in that episode when Molly looked at her, or whoever it was, looked at that sunscreen and was like, this is just plain out the vino.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, this is plain old vino, buddy. You just rubbing in lotion. One thing I liked in particular was Molly's hair. So I know that Yvonne Orji, like the person who plays Molly, really like buzz cutted her hair in real life a few months ago. And I think she really has the face for it. I feel like my head is way too big, like my face too round. I wouldn't be able to pull it off. But you know, they say when a woman changes her hair, she's about to change her life. And I think that's
mhm.
in like the season that we see Molly in, trying to be a better human out here. So have you ever made your hair changes in your life, like brand new color or shorter style or something?
I'm pretty boring. I've had just about the same haircut for most of my life, even as a child. I did in college one time. I went to get my hair cut right before like a formal event, and they chopped it to like chin length, and it just was not the best for my round face. And I just kind of remember everybody at the party later being like, "I like your haircut."
That
um,
that
but
happens.
now my girl Miss T Michelle at Milestones Grooming, I just go in and I say, "You do what you need to do," and I trust her completely. So.
Now, see, that's the reassurance I want in a stylist that I can just come in there and know you're gonna get me right. There was one time when I was beginning ninth grade, I went to get my ends clipped, and
Mhm.
I left with my hair. It barely touched the end of my ears, and I was like, "What in the world?" So from one person with a round face to another, I feel you.
Yeah.
I just looked like an egg, and it was
It's not, it doesn't work.
as I was beginning high school. It's like, well, I'm just gonna have to believe in myself right now. Um, our second What's Been Brewing moment is these two besties having each other's back. So we know Issa and Molly didn't end last season on the best of tips. Now it seems like they're doing better. But I think that was really evident in that scene where they were riding in the car, each going to the next destination, and Molly just turns to this new girl, Risha, and was like, "Hey, are you fucking Nathan?" And I personally feel like that was just a best friend doing her job. Like, let's just get to the point. Let's get out of our awkward text message conversation. So, have you ever been a friend's wing woman or needed a wing woman on one of your nights out?
Yeah. So, well, this is sort of a bigger thing than just a night out, but a group of friends. I have this big group of friends from college, and everybody was like married and having babies. And then there were a handful of us that were still single. And so we broke off and we call ourselves the affirmation chain. And so we have helped each other navigate the wilds of online dating for years. And it is, share stories and plot revenge and responses. And it's, uh, it's gotten me through some tough times.
Oh, that's so neat. I feel like that's needed, or maybe me. I feel like me and my friends have an unofficial, similar kind of like clan.
Yeah.
Because online dating, buddy, it can.
Your girl's got to have your back if you're
Yeah,
going to make it.
it's a doozy out here. You never know what you're gonna run into.
Mm-mm.
I think it's fun, when your group text dings and it's like somebody's coming in with a story. It's like, great, let me grab my popcorn. What is happening
Mm-hmm.
in the next installment? Um,
Yeah.
and I'm just happy to see Issa and Molly kind of clicking, bond together,
Me too.
act like that. So our last What's Been Brewing moment is just Issa and Nathan's awkwardness. Now we're gonna delve into like their whole spiel this episode in a few seconds. But just the initial moment where they met on the beach, it's like, my goodness, are are y'all ever just gonna click like at that point in the story? So how do you think that Issa could have handled or maybe should have handled Nathan walking out on her? Like clearly she's pressed about it and feeling like things are weird,
Hmm.
but do you think she could have handled it a little differently once she got to him face to face?
Yeah, I mean, she does like address it more later on, but on the beach, it's certainly very awkward. And I don't know. I probably myself probably would have just like ignored him, which isn't the best way to go. But I don't know what it was an awkward situation in general. I don't know. What do you think?
I definitely would have ignored him as well. I feel like I can be a little spiteful. I was like, I feel like if he would have left me, like I would have just been like, oh, well, that's just it. Like we're just done.
Hmm.
I don't want to talk to you anymore. You don't want to talk to me, so it's a wrap. But clearly, as we see later on, they really like each other. But that beach scene was really awkward, and it made me feel like
Yeah.
Nathan was talking about how he gets mixed signals from Issa and things. It makes me feel like, were y'all ever really friends? Like it's just
Right.
their whole existence is blurry. But on that note, we will roll on into our piping hot moments. And those are simply three moments or scenes from the show that really help define it, push it along, give it some juice. So we're going to start off with Issa and Nathan. Nathan was like the focal point of this episode. So Issa, one of the things he said was that Issa's all over the place. Like he left basically because he didn't understand that they had expectations from each other. Like they're just kind of in this weird situationship type thing. So I want to know, have you ever had one of those like awkward situations or like a friend zone situation? Because it's like, they said they're still friends, but
Hmm.
the whole world can tell they're feeling each other. So have you ever dealt with any of those type situations that you or your friends here that have dealt with
Yeah.
awkward online dating?
Yeah, I had kind of a too long relationship that was like in and out of friend zone, and we liked each other, but it never really got very serious, and we didn't communicate well, and it seems like he's saying Issa's all over the place, but he's not really bringing a lot to the table either. You gotta be an adult and communicate and talk about. That's one thing I learned over the years of online dating. It's just like you gotta be direct and upfront about like what do you want and what do you not want, and nobody's got time to waste.
Yeah, I agree with that. Um, Speaking on being direct on online dating, the last time I was taking a stroll through the apps, I matched with a guy, and the very first thing he said was like, "Hey, hey," and the next thing he said, he was like, "I've been married for 14 years." I was like, "What?" And then he starts speaking. He was like, "I just got divorced yesterday." I was like, "Okay." He was just way too direct with way too much info
Uh-huh.
off the top. But I do agree, like you do have to be clear about what you want. Stop wasting people's time.
Yeah.
That hasn't been something that Issa and Nathan have done well at all. It's
Mm-mm. No.
like each other and don't want to let each other go, but they're not really pouring into each other. They like drain,
Mhm.
make each other stress. So
Yeah.
the thing we saw this episode was Nathan learning that his cousin, who we just got to meet and see, actually ended up kicking him out of the house because he felt like his erratic behavior, which we know is plays a part into Nathan's bipolar diagnosis, like he becomes manic. He was like leaving the door open, coming in late, things like that. So his cousin revealed, like, "Hey man, I actually wanted you gone, not my wife." What are your thoughts on that? Like, clearly we saw it crush Nathan, but any thoughts on that?
I mean, that was very interesting to me from like a mental health perspective. I was glad that the cousin, laid it all out there and just finally, and said this is what was going on. We needed some space and some boundaries because of the way you were acting, and I've got kids, and you can't really act that way, if you're staying at our house. I did think it was kind of weird that he blamed it on his wife. I mean, I don't know that I would want to take the blame
It
if I was her.
was very cowardly.
Um, I get her point, I guess, but I would probably not want to do that myself.
I agree. Tell me the truth. But I was talking to another friend, and she said she reminded me, like, because of his manic behavior, because of that bipolar diagnosis, that plays a factor into why he can be so flaky with Issa sometimes.
Yeah.
the original reason that he ghosted her was because he had to take that time and focus on himself. It was just like life was too overwhelming. He just kind of checked out from everybody, it seems, to go work on himself. So I definitely think that was a good thing for them to show in the show, for us to get to see on the show, and then for to play out through that character. Because so many people around us, you never know what people are dealing with or what may be
Hmm.
in their lives. So it does shine a light on like the consideration that you may need to give someone who's battling some type of mental illness or trying to learn how to manage it in their day to day lives as well.
Yeah.
Because Nathan's
And
not.
I think that helped bring them, I was glad that Nathan shared that with Issa later, because that's some vulnerability and will hopefully, if that's the right step, bring them closer together, or at least bring some understanding.
Yeah, I was a little salty because I felt like when Issa was vulnerable and crying in her bed last week,
Yeah.
I was there for her, and now she's.
Hmm.
And hopefully, now that they've clearly said
It's a small step.
friends, hopefully
Yeah.
Nathan's not confused about expectations or feelings. They can gel and mesh better. So on that note, they end the show by admitting, I don't just want to be friends. Let's, well, they didn't say let's get together, but they kissed. And so we see things are leaving the friend
Hmm.
zone here. How do you think this is going to turn out? We just said they've been kind of flaky all this time beforehand. Are they headed in a better direction?
I mean, I personally think it's it'll be a better direction, but I think it's still going to be really hard. I mean, being in a relationship with somebody with a mental illness is really hard, and I think what she's gonna have to do is like learn how to take care of herself in that relationship, because there's going to be a lot she can't control, and it's not like just because he realizes that he can flip a switch, which is, I hope they get to a better place, but I think it's going to be hard, and she's going to have to, do her part as well.
Yeah, I don't want her to forget herself or lose herself in trying to be there for him. Um,
Yeah.
so hopefully, I feel like they both have just so much personal baggage that it's hard for them to come.
Hmm.
But hopefully, they can invest in themselves. Like the best thing you can do for your partner is
Yeah.
be a good you. You know.
Exactly. So I mean, I'm interested to see what the show does with that and like his bipolar disorder and how she handles it and how they're able to navigate that.
Yeah, I think it'll be nice to see. Okay, so our second piping hot moment is ode to Molly. She is clearly out here being single and mingling, thriving, juggling two guys this whole episode, saying whoever wants her, they're going to have to put in the effort and show it up and put it out there. So, just one off the top question. Would you date a guy with a cat? We saw one get eliminated because he had to go let his cat out the cage or whatever. What about you?
Yeah, I'm a cat lady. I know you are too. But it's funny. I had one of my rules. I usually swiped left and said no to people when I was online dating who are like a guy who's like cuddled up with his cat for some reason. But even though I am a cat lady, but that's not fair. I do like a man with a cat. So
I was concerned about why his cat needed to be let out anyway. Like he said, it was
yeah, it's not a dog.
that confused me from the first place. So I probably wouldn't have dated that cat guy
Right.
because why is your cat in a crate? But I thought it was hilarious. People give cat owners so much flack,
I know.
like we're just so much different from dog owners. But it's okay. Not everybody's made to love cats.
Right.
So that's one thing. And can you relate to Molly's like self care me season right now? Like she's really seeming to be doing the work and being intentional about ways in which she can improve, ways that maybe, she was hurting her own self in her professional life, personal life. Have you ever had one of those seasons where it's kind of like, maybe I'm the villain for my.
Yeah, I definitely have, and I probably gonna have many more. I think that's important. I was glad. That's what I've been glad to see in this season is her being a little bit more self-reflective and like, relationships haven't worked, and I've had this big blow up with my best friend. What do I have to contribute, or what can I do to personally? Because that's the only thing you can really control.
Yeah,
So
only control.
yeah, I've definitely had a few of those.
Oh, good. I feel like I'm in the midst of one.
Hmm.
And it's just, it can be exhausting. Like, it's legit work to try to, like, start new habits or mend relationships or even recognize
Hmm.
let some go. it can be pretty exhausting. But Molly is looking fabulous while doing it and seeming to
I
have
think so too.
hope she just continues to evolve. I feel like we have some good dynamics going on with all the characters this season. We're getting to see someone tweeted and said the season feels like it's unfolding with the characters
Hmm.
instead of just like everything's chaotic and unraveling. So I agree.
Yeah, it's kind of like everybody's growing. I mean, the whole show is like a growth story, but I feel like this season especially is a lot of good personal growth.
It is. It is. It's less about a little less about how they're impacting each other and more like internally reflective.
Hmm.
Okay, so our third piping hot moment is Mr. Krishan. He starts a smear campaign against Issa on the internet. First, he calls her a fraud. Then he reshares one of her tweets. How do you feel about the situation? Like we saw him in the last episode get to do the show that he really wanted to do. You know, he like broke the rules and brought out all the low riders and drums or whatever. And now I thought it seemed like him and Issa ended on good terms, but maybe not. So how'd you view it?
Yeah, I was kind of confused by that whole situation. Yeah, it doesn't seem like whatever he's saying is warranted based on everything she did for him. I mean, I'm not a Twitter user very, and I'm not trying to get into a fight on social media. So when she fired off that tweet, I was like, oh God, this isn't going to end well. So I'm interested to see where that goes.
Yeah, once she responded, I was like, no, Issa, it's gonna get worse, and it did. Um,
But I love her assistant who was like, I will kill them if necessary.
like just say the word. I'll handle.
They're dead.
Just say the word. So where do you think it can go from here? Like we saw a second where Issa was worried about what was it, NBW or whoever, like the
Hmm.
big company.
That big company.
What if they see it or have some flag? How do you think this can is gonna play out? I guess.
I don't know. I feel like just kind of with her luck and how things go, it's probably going to be bad for her, unfortunately. But like her assistant said, I can't remember her name, but she was like, the internet's has a short memory, so hopefully it's just a blip. And
That is one thing you can count on. If something happens, you give it about a week, and the world will
hmm
quickly be talking about something else. That's a good point. And I just don't. I agree. I don't see why Krishan is mad. He seems just angry out of nowhere for no reason. So hopefully we can resolve that. He's nice to look at, but you
yeah, he is.
can't just be over
I
here.
don't know what that was about.
Hmm. Okay, so now we're going to delve into some games and a few guesses. And so
Okay.
the earthquake ended their beach day at the beginning of the episode, which I didn't even like. Just pause for that. I know I don't live anywhere near like the beach line and the coast and things, but I was shocked. I was like, that earthquake didn't even seem that big. Y'all are worried about a tsunami. Um,
Yeah, but
but
then they just kept on going and went to the bar like nothing
yeah,
happened. So
yeah,
I guess they weren't that worried.
yeah. I've been in California one time and I felt two earthquakes. Um,
Oh wow.
I was a little scared. Thankfully, they weren't like really bad, or at least not where I was. But clearly, they're used to it. Like they just kept going,
Hmm.
paused for a second, and then kept going. I feel like I would have been like, I want to go home, or is it gonna happen again?
Oh, get me to the airport.
Yes, get me to the airport. Okay, so since the earthquake shut down their beach day, tell me which one of these situations would you like to just shut down? Like I'm tired of doing this. I'm over it. So would you
Mm.
rather shut down doing laundry or washing dishes? Which one could you just do without?
Definitely washing dishes. It's like, you get your hands and all that gross stuff, and I'm over it. No, thank you.
Now that's a good point. Dishwasher is
Because laundry is clean by
yeah.
the time you're folding it.
Dishwater can get pretty icky, and I don't even honestly like loading and unloading the dishwasher. It's just time consuming.
Mm-mm.
All right.
Yeah.
So falling back or springing forward. Daylight saving time is a big topic around this time.
I would put an end to falling back because I hate when it gets dark. It's dark when you go home at the end of the day, and it's cold if you want to go exercise after work and all of
Yeah,
that. The extra hour is nice, but that's only one day. So,
it makes it feel like the day is over already. Like by the time 3:30 comes around and it's like gray outside and starting to get darker and darker. It makes me feel like my day is gone.
Mhm.
Okay, so Lawrence and Issa or Lawrence and Condola? Which one
Mm,
he's in?
man, I do love Lawrence, but I think he and Issa have done what they can do, and they've both grown a lot since then and need to just kind of move on. And I really want to cheer for Lawrence and Condola and the new baby. I mean, they've got a lot to figure out, but I think there could be some good there, and I want them to figure out at least how to like support each other and co-parent.
Yeah, now I am rooting for them. I do think they're going to figure out co-parenting because they're not bad people,
Right.
and
They're smart, nice, good people.
yeah, their relationship didn't even really end on a bad note. It was just kind of Condola saying like, "Hey, I'm not looking for nothing that's serious right now, or at least not with you." Um,
Hmm.
I don't think they don't seem like they hate each other or that they would, use the baby spitefully to hurt each other or anything. So I do think and hope that they'll figure co-parenting out. Like hopefully by the end they can show us them like at a birthday party or something,
Yeah.
or Lawrence not feeding the baby icing ahead of time.
Right. That was crazy. I loved how his friend was like, I need you to help me with something. He's like,
Yeah,
don't do that again.
there are no boxes over here, dude. You tripping? Yeah.
Uh-uh.
Okay, and lastly, Valentine's Day or New Year's Eve. Which one could you do without?
Whew, probably Valentine's Day. I mean, that's just so overrated. And I don't often stay up till midnight on New Year's Eve anymore, but it's nice. It's a little bit more celebratory and
Yeah.
fun
Okay. Let's see. I like
and
Valentine's.
inclusive.
No, that's true. I like Valentine's Day because it's cheesy.
Hmm.
I think I'm like not in love with the idea of being in love. I just think it's cute. But
Yes, it is cute.
I would prefer New Year's Eve. And you're right. I haven't been up at midnight on New Year's Eve. Was I last year? I think I had a friend over last year, and we barely made it to midnight. And then I looked over and she was asleep, so I just went to bed. Um, but I do want to like. I want to go to New York. I want to go to New York one day for New Year's Eve. I don't want to be
Yeah, that'd be fun.
the ball drop because apparently you have to like get there super early, stay outside all day, and wait.
Yeah.
I could just be like in the atmosphere in a sparkly dress somewhere. That would be ideal.
Yeah. Yeah, we were talking about that last night. Like, it would be so fun to be in New York, but not in Times Square because I don't think you can like go to the bathroom. You pretty much have to wear like an adult diaper, and I'm not about that in my sparkly dress.
Yeah, I had some friends who planned a trip there, and I was gonna go with them, but something happened. I had to cancel. But that's what we were talking about. Like, hey, people wear adult diapers. You really need to be bundled up. Um,
Mm-mm,
can't bring
not here for that.
anything. Like the restaurants are closed. People literally just stand out there all day, and I just want to be somewhere being cute and laughing.
Mm-hmm.
So
Cute and warm.
yeah, cute and warm for sure. All right, and now just for a few little guesses, do you think that Molly is going to enjoy her date with Eric? So this is the guy who like took her into the Jason Derulo party, which also who knew that people were fans of Jason Derulo
That
anymore. I love the show.
was funny.
Yeah, a little awkward, funny moments. Like even when the guy said at the beach when he was like, "Oh, Jason Derulo's having a party," I was on the couch. I was like, "Who cares?" But apparently people care. So, do you think she's going to enjoy her date with this Eric guy? She has lots of options now.
I know. I think she is because she's just out for a good time right now, it seems like. And he seems like a good time as long as he's not like a total jerk or anything. I think they'll have a fun time.
Yeah, me too. She seems like she's like okay with the fact that this may not be my husband. He may not
Hmm.
all of these, imaginary
We
bonds,
may not see each other again. I don't know.
not see each other again. She's just like living in the moment. So I like that. And lastly, do you think Kelly has found a new friend? Now she had this whole like weird, awkward conversation with Risha throughout the episode, where they were like crying and bonding with one another, but it wasn't really the focal point of the episode. So, what do you
Hmm.
think of Kelly and her new friend?
I thought that part was hilarious because I've definitely been Kelly multiple times, like in a at a random party, find a new friend that I'm, bearing my soul to, and then like, we're not friends after that. It's just a situation. So I think it's probably situational and not. I don't think they're gonna, hang out a ton after that.
Yeah,
But I have been that girl.
I feel like they're probably like day drinking buddies, or like when you're
Yeah.
if it's like bar night in undergrad and you meet a girl in the bathroom and y'all are like besties for those few minutes, you know,
Yeah.
oh, let me help you fix your skirt or your mascara's running. And you like love each other in that moment and then never see each other again. That's how they seem to be.
Yeah. I really enjoyed that part of the episode though. I thought it was so funny.
Yeah, Kelly's hilarious. She keeps the comedy coming on.
Hmm.
She holds it down very well.
Yeah, she does.
Okay, well, this is going to wrap up this episode of The Jasmine Tea. Thank you guys for tuning in. And remember that you can listen to this show wherever podcasts are found. Make sure you're following us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook at The Jasmine Tea, the same little name down there. Mary, it has been super fun breaking this episode down with you and hearing your thoughts. Thank you for joining us
And thanks
today.
so much for having me. This has been so much fun.
No problem. I am going to drop the link to her businesses and things in our description box. So you guys head on over and see her. And I will see you guys next week.